On Patriots Today by Chat Sports, we've got 5 Mac Jones trade ideas as the writing appears to be on the wall for Mac Jones in New England. My name is Harrison Graham. We're going to get into that as we dive into today's show. But first, we've got our month-long subscriber battle going on with Dolphins Today, a little AFC East competition. It's close, but it's not close enough if you want to take down the Miami Dolphins like the Patriots are used to doing, although not the past couple of years as much. Hit that subscribe button. Videos every single day. We got you covered here on Patriots Today. All right, let's get to this from Ian Rapoport on Mac Jones. He says, even though Bill Belichick is gone, Mac Jones, who lost the starting role and ended up third string by the end of the 2023 season, is a trade candidate in the coming weeks and most likely will end up elsewhere for the 2024 season. Now, Mac Jones has had a bit of a tumultuous journey here. Had a really good rookie season, Rookie of the Year, helped lead the Patriots to the playoffs under Josh McDaniels as his OC. You felt like he was, going to be the next franchise guy. Took a step back, obviously, in year 2. The Joe Judge, Matt Patricia thing was a disaster. Got Bill O'Brien in there this year, and it even got worse. I think in that 2022 season, he just lost his confidence, and it never recovered in 2023. So now you're going to be expecting some teams to show interest in him as a reclamation project, but probably isn't going to get you great return. Now, you look at this trade from after the preseason last year, Trey Lance to Dallas for a 4th-round pick. I mean, I think if you're New England, you'd be pretty thrilled with the 4th at this point. I think you're probably looking at a 5th, maybe a 6th, but maybe this is a measuring stick for what Mac Jones could fetch. We'll explore some different trade ideas on today's show. And by we, I mean myself and Nick Rohloff. We bring Rolly in. And I like this first one, Rolly. I think one of these West Coast type of teams that have an established starter in place, but good offensive minds that could help, just hit that restart button. You look at kind of like Baker Mayfield when he went to the Rams in the middle of last year. They just picked him up because Stafford was banged up, played some good ball, and became a good starter again with Tampa. Maybe something similar could happen with Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this on the channel and off the channel as well, just in the Chat Sports offices. Like, this is both of ours, number one destination. And if I had to put my chips down on a team that will trade for Mac Jones, I think it will be the Los Angeles Rams. It just makes a lot of sense, right? For them, Stafford, you don't really have a backup because their backup this year was Carson Wentz.
They drafted Stetson Bennett, then he left the team for personal reasons. We don't know what his status is moving forward.
Could they develop Mac under Stafford, learning from McVay? I think it's very possible. So if you were looking at a Rams trade, I think this is what the comp would be. You mentioned that 4th-round pick would probably be best case scenario, but a 5th-round pick straight up feels the most likely. You get a top 150-ish pick with 152 here from the Rams. They get their backup quarterback. I think this makes a lot of sense, and this is one of the ones that, if it's offered and on the table, I think they just take it. And it does, you mentioned, the Rams QB projects. Baker Mayfield, now obviously slotted to make $30+ million in free agency after getting into that McVay offense, then going to Dave Canales in Tampa Bay this year. Carson Wentz looked competent in the game that he came in and played as well in Week 18. I think Mac could really develop in Los Angeles, maybe not to a star quarterback, but a solid backup or maybe a spot start.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The trade value is fascinating to me, Rolly, because, you could make a strong argument that he's proven more than Trey Lance in his career. I think timing's part of it, though, is that the Cowboys traded for Lance with 2 years at least left on his deal, potentially 3 at the 5th-year option. I don't think Dallas is picking that up. No team is picking up the 5th-year option for Max, so you have 1 year of team control. So it's kind of like, okay, if you're the Rams, I think a 5th or a 6th makes sense because he's a young guy who's shown something, but you also only have 1 year of team control. So I think this is probably a win-win. If you get something like this, if you're New England, I think you probably just take the pick and move on here. Where do you guys think Mac Jones gets dealt? Let us know what team in the comment section you think comes calling for his services. I do think he'll have enough value to get traded. It's a matter of where, and it's a matter of how much. I think this is another great one. You get him in that Shanahan-style system. The system isn't necessarily easy, but once you learn it, the solutions are there for you, if that makes sense. Like, if you can process quick enough, Rolly, which I think became a problem this last year and a half under Mac, but early in his career, that was like the thing he was great at, was just kind of identifying the matchups. If he can gain that confidence back under a good offensive coach like Kyle Shanahan and some of those assistants there, Brian Greasy's been given a lot of credit for his development of Brock Purdy. Maybe he can get some of that confidence back in that type of offense.
I have a take I'm ready to fire off, Harrison.
Oh, baby.
I don't think Purdy is really more talented than Mac Jones. I know some of you might say prisoner in the moment. Some of you might disagree. I don't know. I don't care. But I know what I've seen, and I've seen a quarterback in Mac Jones who was the 15th overall pick. I've seen him show some really positive and really good moments in Foxborough before. And there's a reason why Purdy was the last pick in the draft, and there's a reason why Mac was picked number 15. I think the talent differential between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones is very minimal or non-existent, if we're going to be honest. So I could see Shanahan saying, listen, we'll ride with Purdy another year, but if he stinks, why not get Mac Jones into the building, a former first-round pick? He could learn our system. If he practices well, he plays well, and maybe if Purdy doesn't play good in this following season, maybe Mac could be his guy going forward. He's very similar to a Kirk Cousins type, in my opinion, that you've seen Shanahan be interested in the past. This trade idea here, instead of getting just a 5th-round pick back, you get a 4th-round pick in that 131 range, but you also give up your 7th-round pick at 228 right now. I think this is a deal that I would definitely be willing to do. You attach a 7th and Mac to get a 4th rather than just Mac for a 5th. These are things you're going to have to toy with here. I don't think it has to be a one-for-one trade.
It's interesting to look back, Rolly, because all the chatter when they traded for Trey Lance was it was him or Mac. Like, that was the chatter. They went with Lance. They went with the upside, the athlete, et cetera, and that obviously didn't work out. But we know Shanahan liked him. I mean, that all the reporting suggests that. Now, does he feel that way still? Does he watch Mac's tape from this year and be like, oh, this is a guy who's lost all of his confidence. I don't know if he can get it back. Or is he on the other side like, hey, I can work with this guy and get him back to at least being a quality backup. So it's an interesting thought. I do agree from a raw talent standpoint, I don't think there's much of a difference. Now, maybe you could look at that two ways. Did the NFL just completely whiff on Brock Purdy, or was Mac Jones just overdrafted? It's hard to know. But either way, I do think that there's obviously ability within Mac Jones. We've seen it. And you do wonder if Kyle Shanahan, who loved him a couple of years ago, is still interested in seeing what he could do with him now. Kind of like he did when he brought in Sam Darnold. He really wanted to bring him in there too. All right, we are sponsored by Prize Picks. Appreciate the best daily fantasy sports app for sponsoring Patriots Today by Chat Sports. Just because football's over doesn't mean there isn't money to be made. You can place your picks on NBA games. You got college basketball, NHL, Major League Baseball around the corner as well. Some esports are available. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. They're going to give you stat projections, and you just take the more or less on your 2 to 6 player entries. You can win up to 25 times your money on any given entry with Prize Picks. So get started today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS and make some money with Prize Picks. That link is in the comments and in the description of this video. The Minnesota Vikings. This is an interesting one as well because it's unclear what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins. I think even if they bring him back, there could be a scenario where they'd be interested in Mac. If they don't, it's even more interesting, though, Rolly, because I don't think any team out there is going to trade for Mac with the intention of you're our starter for sure. But that could be a scenario where, like, they draft a quarterback at 11 and that player isn't ready, so Matt can just kind of take the bullets and get an opportunity, right? And Jaron Hall stinks. I completely agree with you.
This is the way I'm looking at it. Like, Jaron Hall is atrocious, the BYU quarterback. He's bad. So if you're Kevin O'Connell and you do re-sign Kirk Cousins, why not bring in Mac Jones to be his backup, to learn under him, take a chance on a former first-round pick for the same reasons that I had for the 49ers trading for Mac Jones. It's really the same situation where you could bring back Kirk on a 2-year deal, have Mac develop under him potentially, and then be that starter if he shows enough promise. Or like you mentioned, say their team rumored for J.J. McCarthy. I hate J.J. McCarthy personally, but if they took him at 11, he's still super young.
He's 21.
Maybe they're like, we'll throw Mac out there for a little bit, right? We'll play him for the first 5 or 6 games, see if he could provide anything for us, and then if not, JJ steps in midway through the year, or JJ just learns under Mac for the rest or for the entire 2024 season. I think that's a real possibility as well. I'm always looking at these teams with good offensive talent around Mac Jones, it would be, like the Rams, like the 49ers, like the Vikings, with smart offensive minds.
All three of these are,
yeah. That's kind of where I'm looking at, and that's kind of the teams that I expect to be interested in Mac Jones, because they know they won't have to offer a lot, and they'll get a former first-round pick to come in and learn behind another good quarterback, or just in their offensive system.
Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. When the Patriots trade Mac Jones, because they're gonna, we'll make a video. So turn on notifications after you hit that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We're publishing content every single day. If you turn on that notification bell, go the extra mile, you will know exactly when we publish content and when we do our occasional live streams as well. Detroit Lions, another interesting one. This, to me, the wild card in this is, where is the Hendon Hooker evaluation in that building? Hendon Hooker missed most of his rookie year, coming off that torn ACL his senior year in college at Tennessee. I think he got cleared like week 10, week 12. He was like their third quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater's retired. He's gone. So I think that's what this one would come down to, Rolly. Like, is Hooker ready to be a backup? If not, you bring Mac in there, who has at least played and had some success in this league, to be Jared Goff's backup.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I looked at it. Like, Goff is also, I would expect Detroit to retain him, but he's an unrestricted free agent in 2025, at least as of now. So it's not like his contract is some big one right now. Like, it's running out of time. So maybe they're looking for his possible successor if they don't believe he could lead them to a championship. But I will say this trade is the one that I cooked up that is probably the most unlikely, because I don't see the Lions wanting to do this, but the value to me checks out. And the Patriots maybe potentially get back into the first round here. They move up 5 spots to get back into the end of the first round, because what does that give you with whoever player you pick in that 29th pick? If this trade did go down, you get that 5th-year option, which is very important, depending on what position or just in general. So you move up only 5 spots, but you give up Mac, which equivalent of 4th, 5th rounder. Lions maybe take a chance. I don't know. I think it's an interesting
I don't
one.
hate the idea. I mean, if Detroit's sitting there and doesn't love a prospect on the board and doesn't want to pay a little extra money in that slot, they could trade back and get a backup type of quarterback in return. I mean, maybe you have to attach some late day 3 pick as well to move into the first round, but that might be worth it depending on who's on the board. So, maybe you've taken a quarterback at 3 and maybe some receiver has slid to 29. Like, maybe the kid out of Oregon's sitting there and you want a speedster. So, I don't hate this idea. Again, I think the wild card here again is the Hooker situation. Like, if they're moving forward with him as the backup, I don't think Detroit's
what trade
viable.
I could see this being for, by the way, is if, say, New England at number 3 ends up doing that other situation where they trade back from 3, they gather assets, they move back in the first round, take a wide receiver or offensive tackle still in the top 15. What if this trade is to move back up into the first round to take a little Michael Penix action and get that 5th-year option on the quarterback, something to be alerted on as well. But I also think this wouldn't be a trade to happen in the next 2 or a few weeks, like Rapoport mentioned. This would be like a draft.
This would be a draft night deal where the Lions are like, we don't love the board here. Patriots really like someone. Hey, y'all want Mac Jones? It'd be something like that. So certainly something interesting, no doubt about it. And then the Denver Broncos, who we didn't see it this last year and a half or so, but like Mac's rookie year, you saw some similarities to like a Drew Brees style of quarterback. I'm not saying Drew Brees, but just like a guy who's got limited arm strength, but he's accurate. He gets the ball out on time. We know Sean Payton likes that type of quarterback who can just run his offense. I don't think this would be like let's bring him in to be our clear starter, but maybe there's some sort of competition scenario. Maybe they draft a rookie quarterback that isn't quite ready. So I could certainly see that being a possibility.
I mean, who is there going to be their starting quarterback? Like, all indications kind of pointing to Russell Wilson being gone in 2024. They sit there with the 12th overall pick. Are they trading up? I know Sean Payton really likes Caleb Williams, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think they're a sneaky team if the Patriots trade down with.
I mean, listen, they give us a haul to move up to 3. It'd be interesting. They'd have to give up quite a bit, and I don't know if they have the draft capital to really pull that off. Maybe they give us a sneaky good young player in return. But
I mean, what if you go like 2 firsts and Jerry Jeudy and like a second or something like that?
Interesting.
Go from
12 next year's first.
Because Sutton and Jeudy for years now have been rumored as trade chips on the table. Maybe they're willing to part with one of those. You get a couple firsts and a second. I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah, if you're getting Jeudy, 12, another first round next year, and their second or third round pick, I don't know if they have a second, but if their next best pick in this draft, I'd consider it.
Little teaser on that, by the way. We're going to do a blockbuster trade ideas video because there is some chatter that New England could be trading down from the number 3 selection. So be on the lookout for that. You know how you do that? You subscribe. You turn on notifications. You know exactly when we publish our videos here on this channel. When you subscribe and turn on those notifications, you know what happens? You're on your phone. Boop, notification, Patriots Today, new episode. Click and watch. That way you're always in the know. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's show. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another episode of Patriots Today.